K-pop. Demon Hunters wins over kids with its action, music, and captivating characters. But did you know that many adults caught details and references that children probably didn't even notice? Abby, here's a curious, and let's be honest, slightly PG-13 moment in K-pop. Demon Hunters. It happened when the Huntrix, specifically Mira and Zoe, first met the most muscular member of the Saja boys, Abby. And trust me, we're not talking about just any muscles here. We're talking full-on fitness commercial level, complete with a shiny six-pack that looked like it had been polished with a filter. This first exchange of glances happened right after the two girls were leaving Dr. Han's office, where Rumi had gone to take care of her voice. In other words, they were there, all innocent, thinking about pitch and breathing, and then, bam! Six-pack on screen. At that exact moment, you could clearly see Zoe's eyes turn into two little pixelated six-packs, a look whose true meaning only the adults in the room would catch. But it doesn't stop there. This guy is the type who never misses a chance to show off his abs. He could be in the middle of an interview about international politics and suddenly lift his shirt just to scratch his stomach. And he's admitted himself that he noticed the Huntrix staring. Discretion? Yeah, that wasn't in play here. The cherry on top comes in the bathhouse scene. The Huntrix's mission was to try to eliminate the Saja boys, but when the guy showed up shirtless, mission aborted, soldier. Mira, who had been totally focused up until then, suddenly had eyes popping like kernels in a hot pan. So, between suggestive glances, abs on display, and reactions that only a more mature audience would truly get, this sequence became a hidden Easter egg for the most observant fans. As for the kids, today we're going to uncover everything kids missed in K-pop. Demon Hunters! So come along with us for another video! Soda Pop. The Saja Boys' song Soda Pop might seem like an innocent little beat to dance to, but if you pay closer attention to the lyrics, you'll notice some, let's say, suspicious messages. Between synchronized dance moves and catchy choruses, there are parts that sound like demons wanting to take people's lives. Yes, right there in the middle of a colorful, smile-filled music video. Meanwhile, the kids? Not a clue. They were 100% convinced it was all just about soda, bubbles, and parties. But for the adults who noticed, it was more like Pepsi teaming up with a horror movie. It's the kind of content that completely flies over the heads of the little ones, but makes older viewers raise an eyebrow and think, wait, did I just hear that right? And so, Soda Pop became one of those classic cases where a seemingly cute video hides a darker side. But in the end, between kids dancing and adults wondering, the catchy rhythm wins. Because let's be real, it's impossible to listen without ending up humming along, demons included.
Hey, 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 hey.
Asian show. In Asia, there are plenty of entertainment shows that, to Western eyes, feel like a parallel universe. These are competitions and challenges so over the top that you can't tell if you're supposed to laugh, cry, or call an ambulance. In K-pop, Demon Hunters, we got the perfect example of that. The weirdest, or most brilliant moment, depending on your sense of humor, happened when the Saja boys took part in a contest to see who could drink an entire bottle of hot sauce. It wasn't a test of physical endurance or a singing challenge. It was basically a stomach versus gastritis deathmatch. The whole scene had such a bizarre vibe that it felt like a mashup between a reality show and medieval punishment. But it didn't stop there. There was also the moment when the Huntrix went down a slide wearing leather outfits. The sound it made, well, only the kids thought it was funny. Adults watching knew that noise wasn't just funny. It was the kind of irritating sound that deserved an award for Most Annoying Noise of the Year. The kicker is that this scene was also a sharp commentary, a satire about how far people will go to get attention and entertain fans. Because beneath the laughter and choreography, there was a critique of the degrading behavior that some shows encourage. In other words, the movie poked the wound with humor, but made sure the message came through. Food. Another detail that really stood out in K-pop. Demon Hunters was the Huntrix's relationship with food. It was such an intentional exaggeration that it was clearly poking at a sensitive point in K-pop culture. The extremely restrictive diets that many female idols have to follow to maintain an almost impossible beauty standard. While in real life, idols are counting calories, in the movie, the Huntrix were practically encouraged to eat everything in sight, a lighthearted protest. And it was all going smoothly in this satire until the infamous sushi roll moment. Rumi grabbed the sushi roll, popped the whole thing in her mouth, and chewed in a way that, well, didn't exactly look like it was about cuisine. The timing, her expression, and the camera angle gave the scene a tone that only adults picked up on. The result? The scene went viral online and became a worldwide meme, complete with GIFs, cheeky captions, and hilarious edits. Before we keep uncovering what adults noticed in K-pop, Demon Hunters, drop a comment below saying, "Food." Grannies. One of the most unexpected moments in K-pop. Demon Hunters happened right at the beginning, when the Saja boys were performing in the middle of the street. So far, so normal, until they showed up. The dancing grannies. And we're not talking about sweet little old ladies doing a couple of light dance moves. No, these were full-on, music video-worthy choreographies, with the energy of someone who just downed 3 energy drinks. For those unfamiliar with Asian culture, here's a bit of context. There's a strong value placed on each age group having its own social role. It's extremely rare to see elderly people trying to occupy spaces usually reserved for the young, especially in the K-pop world. So seeing older women dressed and dancing like idols was a deliberate cultural shock aimed at Western audiences, where it's not unusual to see older folks wanting to enter and stay in spaces dominated by younger generations. Of course, there's nothing wrong with enjoying youthful music, but K-pop, Demon Hunters took it a step further. It wasn't just about listening. It was about dressing, acting, and even chasing idols like teenagers. And the scene that drove this home the most was in the auditorium, when those same ladies were getting autographs, and, without a shred of embarrassment, asked for an autographed photo of Abby's six-pack. Zoe. Another moment that really stands out in K-pop. Demon Hunters is when the Huntrix are in the auditorium signing autographs. Out of nowhere, Zoe starts insulting Mystery. Yes, right there in the middle of the event, in broad daylight, in front of everyone. But here's the curious detail. Just moments earlier, she had looked at a photo of him and drooled, literally. So what at first seems like a scene of pure annoyance is actually a very familiar dynamic in the teenage world. That classic, "I make fun of you because I like you" thing. It's the age-old romantic teasing that's been around for generations. You provoke, poke fun, make up nicknames, but deep down, it's all about trying to get attention. Insecurity. And since we're talking about Zoe, there's another point worth highlighting: her insecurity. It's important to remember that she spent part of her life in South Korea and another part in the United States. This detail is symbolically shown in the song Brillo, where we see her being pulled by her mother with the Korean symbol in the background, and by her father in a scene that references the United States. Zoe grew up wanting to please everyone, trying to fit into 2 different worlds at once. In real life, this kind of situation can cause a serious identity crisis, and in her case, it became a core part of her personality. So much so that in Dr. Han's office, he even comments on it, revealing that this need to please is at the root of her insecurity. Later, this weakness ends up being exploited by Guima, who uses Zoe's desire to be accepted to convince her to side with the Saja boys. For younger viewers, all of this might have gone unnoticed, seeming like just a plot twist. But for those paying attention to the details, it's another layer in the story, showing how K-pop, Demon Hunters, also deals with themes of identity, belonging, and the emotional consequences of living between 2 cultures. Celine. Another character who carries a huge emotional weight is Celine. Even though she loves Rumi, she has never been able to accept her exactly as she is. And here's the big question. Does Celine truly know what it means to love? Because real love means accepting someone with all their imperfections, or better yet, with all their marks. The problem is, for Celine, the marks Rumi carries weren't signs of strength or life experience, but rather something to be ashamed of. She kept insisting they needed to be fixed, as if they were flaws to be erased. This mindset trapped the leader of the Huntrix in a constant cycle of feeling like she was never good enough, always trying to change to meet the expectations of someone who claimed to love her. It got to the point where Rumi hid those marks not only from her friends, but from practically everyone. And when they were finally exposed to the public, Celine didn't know how to react. It was a tense moment that revealed how their relationship was built more on appearance and control than on true acceptance. For younger audiences, this might seem like just another bit of drama between characters. But for those watching with a more mature perspective, it's clear that K-pop Demon Hunters is talking about toxic relationships, insecurity, and the importance of loving someone completely, including the scars they carry. Obsessive fans. One of the strengths of K-pop, Demon Hunters, is that, aside from showcasing the entire K-pop world and music style, it also delivers critiques that many children probably didn't pick up on. One of them is about obsessive fans, the ones who don't just want to admire idols but actually want to live their lives. An example of this happens when the girls go to Dr. Han's office. To avoid being recognized and followed, they have to go completely undercover, wearing plain, unremarkable clothes. It's like they're on a secret mission. One slip-up, and an obsessive fan could discover who they really are, ruining what they were trying to do. The point is, these fans aren't satisfied with just knowing about their idols. They want to be them, to invade their personal space and private life. The movie uses this exaggeration to shine a light on the darker side of fame, showing that not everything in the colorful world of K-pop is glitter and choreography. There's also the constant pressure of dealing with fans who cross the line. Vacation. Right at the start, during an interview with fans, it was confirmed that there would be a big Huntrix performance, and right after that, the girls would go on a break. Everything seemed planned and calm. At the end of the show, Bobby even booked a gorgeous getaway spot for them to relax. After all, they deserved a break after so much hard work. But, surprisingly, the girls themselves said they'd prefer something simpler, their own couch at home. No beaches or fancy spas, just the comfort of their own place. But Rumi, the one responsible for the group, didn't think that was enough. To liven things up, he decided to launch a new song. The result? They were shocked, started crying and complaining, because all they wanted was rest. This scene is, in fact, a subtle yet powerful critique of the intense work culture, where people often never stop, never relax, and put work above their own well-being. As a result, some ended up exhausted, with voice problems and visibly worn out, making it clear that rest is just as essential, even in the shiny world of K-pop. Behind the colorful and fun scenes, the movie hides clever critiques about insecurity, obsessive fans, social pressures, relationships, and the need for rest. While kids enjoy the funny and over-the-top situations, adults can spot all these subtle layers. If you're into the world of animation, we've got 2 really cool videos you're going to love. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!